those who are in the formal sector, just tell us what you practice. So let's keep our introduction as brief as possible. I will start with the, okay. Yeah, let's just start, please. I think it's just good for us to know who is in the hall. So let us all introduce ourselves. Even if you're not maybe formally practiced, just let us know your name.
Good morning. My name is Mesha Kondora Onyambu. I work for Kenyatta University, currently acting as the Director National Phytotherapeutic Center, but I'm a lecturer of pharmacognosy and complementary medicine, where traditional medicine is anchored. Thank you.
Praise the Lord. My name is Reverend Dr. Mugambi. I'm saved and I love the Lord Jesus Christ as my personal Savior. I'm an Anglican minister first and foremost. I've been serving in the prisons for the last 4 years. Right now, I'm at Kamete Prison, which has got 4 jails. People normally think it's 1, but there are 4. And above that, I am a herbalist. My father was a herbalist, and I can testify that herbal medicine cures.
Thank you. Thank you, please. Let's just take time. Be cognizant of the time, please.
Good morning. My name is Eunice Muturi. I am not in any formal employment. I am here to learn. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ruth Ndere. Ruth Ndere, I come from Mombasa. Ruth Ndere, I have been practicing herbal medicine. Let me say I'm on the supplement side. Let me say this one, I got it from my mom, who was very, very interested and in natural and making sure that he's balancing your immune system by what you are eating, because you are a product of what you eat and what you do not eat. So I thank God, because when I'm ministering to people who are sick, they become better, and I thank God for that. So it's a ministry I'm doing with much, much love, and I thank God for it. God bless you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Virginia Wefeti. I'm representing Eastern Province in national translational medicine. I represent translational birth attendants. So I have the medicine which can cure oral production organ. Thanks.
Good morning. I am Mwanachumu Kame from Kilifi. I am a traditional herbalist.
Morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Lydia Matoke. I'm the president of the Herbalist Society of Kenya. I'm a traditional healer and a medical missionary worker. I think as at now, I embrace herbal medicine because I think I'm the oldest premature who is living. I was born a premature, and I was brought up the Kisii way through the indigenous knowledge. In the kitchen, near the firestone. That's where I was put.
Thank you very much.
I'm here today to celebrate Africa Traditional Medicine Day.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Okongo Manyibe. I'm a senior cultural officer. I'm representing Dr. Lagat, the Department of Culture, National Government.
As you're doing your introduction, I've been asked to request you to look up front because the recording is going on this way. If you're looking at back, you're giving the cameraman your back.
Good morning, everyone. I'm David Wata, a clinical herbalist. Today, I'm here to represent Nairobi, to represent herbalists from Nairobi and Herbal Society of Kenya. Today, we are glad that we are celebrating our indigenous knowledge in terms of herbal medicine. Thank you.
Hamjambo tena. Majina zangu ni Josephat Sokono Kurutu kutoka Western. Mimi ni herbalist. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Hamjambo wenzangu. Hamjambo.
Hatujambo.
Mmeamkaje? Naona wote tumekuwa Waingereza. Nitatumia Kiswahili. Kwa majina naitwa Thomas Marwa kutoka Migori County, Kuria East. Mimi ni mwenye asili, tiba asili. Tiba asili hutibu. Niko na miaka 60 saizi, unavyoniangalia sijawahi kuchomwa sindano. Sijawahi kuchomwa sindano tangu nizaliwe. Ni chanjo tu ya mwaka 69. Mungu awabariki tunapoendelea.
Amjambo wote. Kwa majina naitwa Richard Chongwa Jepsom kutoka kaunti ya Baringo. Mimi ni mwanatiba asili ambaye ninasimamia madaktari zaidi ya 1500 kutoka Baringo County wa chama cha Herbalist Society of Kenya. So I am a traditional gynecologist.
I'm being reminded, please, let's just keep to the norms so that we get time. Otherwise, I'll be forced to stop the introduction because we have speakers who are about to leave. So just give us your name and where you come from. Period. No history, please.
Good morning, the people of God.
Good morning.
My name is Simon Gige Mirore. I represent the Central. I come from Central Province, and I'm the Vice Chair of Herbalist Society of Kenya.
Thank you, Simon Gige.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Julius Waweru. I come from Jiru Sub-County, Ruai Ward. Thank you.
Thank you, Julius. Let's keep that spirit.
Habari asubuhi nyinyi wote. Jina langu naitwa Tomeric Molonzia. Mimi ni mkimbiaji. Asante.
Kwa majina naitwa Wamboi Wanyutu. Nimetoka Kiambu County.
Hamjambo asubuhi. Francis Gidaiga Maina, herbalist kutoka Limuru.
Thank you, Francis. Let's maintain.
Hamjambo wote. Kwa majina naitwa Samuel Nyanumba na represent Herbalist Society of Kenya, South Rift, Kericho.
Hamjaboni nyote. Kwa majina naitwa David Mungai Kimani kutoka Naivasha. Mimi ni herbalist. Asanteni.
Habari zenu wote. Mimi naitwa Teresia Dongo, natoka Nairobi County.
Good morning, everyone. My name is John Jenga. I'm a farmer.
Morning. My name is John Maina with the Ministry of Health, DHPT.
Good morning. My name is Jacinta Mudhoni from Nairobi County.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Charlotte Nguyo from Nairobi County.
Good morning. Mudhoni Juguna, Nairobi County.
Good morning. Mudhoni Kemani from Kiambu County.
Habari zenyu. Okelo Siata kutoka Nairobi.
Amjambo. Mimi ni James Kuria na toka idara ya utafiti ya KEMRI ama shirika la utafiti wa kidawa la KEMRI, na mimi ndimi mkubwa wa idara ya NAPREDA ambayo inahusika na madawa ya kiasili na madawa pia ya kawaida. Asante.
Praise God. I'm Betty Abdallah from Nairobi County.
Good morning. My name is Joyce Mule from Nairobi County.
Habari ya asubuhi. Kwa majina Richard Karioki, mwanafunzi Natika.
Good morning, I'm Priscilla Migwe, a student from Tika.
Good morning, my name is Shiro Morega, and I'm currently learning about herbal medicine at Tika.
Good morning, friends. Dairo Kamau, Prof, researcher and psychologist.
Good morning. My name is Peter Nganga from Nairobi. I'm a herbalist and a writer, My Food, My Medicine.
Good morning, my friends. Paul Njogu, Chairman Narele, based in Nairobi. I'm a herbalist.
Hello, morning. My name is Eric Ongaki from Nairobi. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Hosea Wanderi from National Museums of Kenya.
Good morning. Joyce Kinyajui, National Museums of Kenya.
Good morning. My name is Rose Kuria, a student from Tika.
Good morning. My name is Njuguna Gishere from the National Museums of Kenya.
Good morning. My name is James Kakumbu, part of the Tika team.
Good morning. My name is Fanny Singanga from Tika.
Good morning. My name is Omtiti Frederick from Tika. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Caroline Ngala. I also work with Tika.
Morning. Joanne Modhoki, health reporter.
Good morning. My name is Grace Kanguru, currently studying herbs at Tika.
Good morning. My name is Sister Kioko, National Museums of Kenya.
Morning. Frederick Mandi, National Museums of Kenya.
Good morning. My name is Engineer Hamis Chome Abdi, Member of Parliament for Voi constituency in Taita Taveta County.
Good morning. My name is Mordecai Odera from Tika.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sarah Mwangi, Ministry of Health, Directorate of Health Products and Technology.
Morning, my name is Vitalis Ocheng and I'm from Tika.
Okay, good morning. I almost forgot to introduce myself. My name is Ida Umbura. I'm also from the Ministry of Health. I work in the Directorate of Health Products and Technology. So, feel once again welcome to the African Traditional Medicine Day. As I stand here, I'm going to give you an overview of our expected program for today. And we'll go straight to the program. After this introductory section, we are going to have the agenda presentation by Dr. Sarah Mwangi, also from the Ministry of Health. She's just introduced herself, okay? And then moving forward, we'll try to manage our time. We're going to have Mr. Vitalis Ocheng, who's going to maybe introduce other presenters. We're going to, and he's going to introduce other presenters from various institutions that are supporting the traditional medicine. After that, we're going to have a progress report from Dr. Sarah again, Mwangi, on the alternative medicine, on the policy, and also on the bill. At about 12 o'clock, we'll be having our plenary discussion and our roadmap with the way forward. And then after that, we expect our head of the directorate, that's Dr. Menge, to be here, who's going to give us the closing remarks. And then we will leave at our pleasure. And at the same time, I'm informed lunch is going to be served for those who want to take lunch before they travel back to their places. So without much ado, I'm requesting Dr. Sarah to come and give us a presentation on the agenda. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. It's just basically to just remind us the main agenda for today. So even as we have the speakers, they're able to just stick to the agenda and to just celebrate the herbalists that we have. So this day is usually celebrated every 31st of August, mainly to honor the role of the traditional medicine in terms of their health, in terms of their welfare, of the generations of people. So again, our main theme was creating an enabling environment for the traditional herbalists, for the traditional medicine to thrive. So our main agenda also for today is to also find out how far are we in terms of creating that environment. How are we involved even as various institutions are represented here? Yeah. So again, even after we deliberate and have a discussion, remember it's going to be a discussion, and just celebrating the day and seeing how far we are, and also seeing what else can we do to help each other and how to collaborate with each other. So at the end of the day, we're going to have, at the end of the meeting and at the end of the celebration, we're going to make sure that we have a clear roadmap of how far we are in terms of the policy, in terms of the bill. We'll have the clear communication, and also the institutions, how are we willing to work together again in terms of ensuring that this takes place. Yeah. I think that is it for the agenda. I will invite Vitalis to now to take us through the next process.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Sarah. My name is Vitalis Ochieng, and I work as Senior Programs Manager in the Indigenous Knowledge and Culture Program in TICA. TICA in full means Trust for Indigenous Culture and Health. So we have a link between culture and health. More about TICA may be said later on, but I'm very delighted to be here today, and also to welcome all of us for this occasion. And allow me to say that at TICA, we work very closely with the practitioners, those who practice traditional medicine, and we also work closely with the user. Our interest is in ensuring that people have choices and they can make choices with regard to the kind of medical services that they would like to have. And in our experience working with these two units, there are so many challenges that have been mentioned for so many years that we've worked with them. And those challenges pointed to one thing, that we have a situation in our country that requires some policy regulation and some institutionalized legal framework so that these practitioners and the users can have an enabling environment to thrive. So for us this day, as we celebrate the African Traditional Medicine Day, is a day that we as a country need to reflect on. Where are we in enabling, creating an enabling environment for traditional medicine to play even a bigger role in providing health care to our people. Now, last year in May, we convened stakeholders. The reason why we convened stakeholders in Manzoni was so that stakeholders could be able to come together and have this discussion about how do we make the environment enabling enough for practitioners to practice, and also for our consumers or users, or the rest of us who use traditional medicine, to be able to have choices. We discussed about the draft policy from the ministry, and we also discussed about the draft bill that is going to be presented. I know the ministry will talk about that. And as a follow-up to that, we again engaged or partnered with the Ministry of Health to bring us back together. And this time round, to kind of evaluate where are we since our discussions last year. And so today, we would like to leave this meeting knowing what is going to be happening anytime soon, like when can we be able to have an enabling environment for our practitioners and users to be able to make choices in terms of medical options. I would like to give this opportunity, I'd like to take this opportunity to invite our host today to officially open this function, and our host being the National Museums of Kenya. And to do that, I would like to invite Dr. Manthi to come and take us through that opening ceremony. Welcome, Dr. Manthi.
Thank you. Good morning, fellow Kenyans. It's really a wonderful morning, a very blessed morning. Having rains on a day like today. I'm just going to make a few remarks, and I will invite my colleague, Dr. Esther Kioko, who is going to make some remarks on behalf of our CEO. I'd like to say that as the director in charge of antiquities, sites and monuments, and all the museum spaces across the country, we are one of the largest beneficiary of this kind of a program. I know you are all aware that our president is pushing for planting of so many numbers of trees across the country. I don't want to ask you, I mean the number. I think he's talking about several billions. And our department, our State Department for Culture and Heritage, through our PS, we've promised to plant at least 5 million trees across all stations in this country, all stations under the National Museums of Kenya. We have stations all over the country, from the coast to the western part of the country, northeastern Kenya, western Kenya, and all over the country. So as an institution, we've committed ourselves to planting at least 5 million trees in our different spaces across the country. So indeed, we are going to be a very key stakeholder, and I would like to call upon all of us that among those 5 million trees, I believe a good number of those will be medicinal plants that can help us deal with different health issues across the country. So indeed, the docket that I had will be a key stakeholder in this particular journey, and I would like to call upon all of us to support us in this particular initiative. I know TICA will be working very closely with them, especially at the Nairobi National Museum, and I would like to call upon TICA leadership to expand your different efforts to other stations across the country, our different spaces across the country. So we'll be working very closely with you and calling upon all of us to work with us. We want their museums all over. There is Irax Hill. In fact, we launched the program at Irax Hill in Nakuru County. We want to go to Kariandusi. We want to go to Lugesaile, each and every single space in which we can plant trees, and especially focus on medicinal plants that can help us deal with the different health issues. So today is not my day. I just wanted to make those few remarks and say that we are a key stakeholder as a directorate, and we'll be working very closely with TICA and other different players in greening our environments, as we also take care of our different health issues through medicinal plants. So with those few remarks, I'm going to invite Dr. Esther Kioko, who is going to make remarks on behalf of the DG, our CEO, and officially open this wonderful meeting. Dr. Kioko.
Good morning. Hamujambo.
Kwa majina ni Dr. Esther Kioko, currently the acting director for research here at the National Museums of Kenya, but I'm here to represent our Director General, Professor Mary Kikungu, who unfortunately could not make it because she was called for an urgent mission. So mine here is to welcome you here at the National Museums of Kenya, and I want to just go ahead in the interest of time and just read the speech that our Director General wanted to give to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the National Museums of Kenya, where heritage lives on. And with this, there's no other place to celebrate the African Traditional Medicine Day on this 31st day of August 2023. The museum is honored to have you around, and we want to welcome you. And why are we so happy here at the National Museums of Kenya to have you around? It's because the National Museums of Kenya is mandated by the government of Kenya to undertake a mission of collecting, preserving, studying, and also documenting what we have, the present and also the past. And why are we mandated to do this? This is to enhance knowledge, and not just enhance knowledge, enhance its use, appreciation, respect. And there's no better thing to do than to extend this mission to the traditional medicine in our country. And why is it so important that we consider traditional medicine matters of importance to the National Museums of Kenya? Traditional medicine is part of our cultural heritage, and also part of our natural heritage. And why natural heritage? Because the plants that you have mentioned are part of our natural heritage, and that is part of the business of the National Museums of Kenya, to ensure that that cultural and natural heritage is understood and preserved. Over the years, the National Museums of Kenya has worked with communities to document, preserve, and promote traditional medicine and medicinal plants through various sections and departments. For example, within our botany department, we have type specimens of medicinal plants that have been preserved for many years. Actually, we have collections that are over 100 years old. Our museum was established in 20 or which year was it? Over 100 years ago, eh? Yes, 1910. I was now confusing because we are in the 20s. Yes, so we are over 100 years old, but we have collections that are even older than the museum. And therefore, we feel that we have a lot to contribute to the advancement of traditional medicine. We also have other centers within the museum, like the Kenya Resource Center for Indigenous Knowledge, which we call KENRIC. We also have the phytochemistry section that analyzes the content of these plants that are used in traditional medicine. So I've heard some of you saying you practice for years. So if you have some plants that you want to verify the contents, you can come to our phytochemistry section, and our staff will help you to understand more the compounds of those plants that you are using. We also have had some projects, research projects, because research is very important to support what we are doing. So we've had a community-based conservation of medicinal plants projects. We have had the network of traditional medicine and medicinal plants. We have had projects on capacity building in conservation of medicinal plants, and we also have a project on cancer palliative care. And this project has also established a garden of the plants that are used in cancer care. We also have our botanic garden just outside here. Maybe you'll get a chance to visit and see some of our live exhibitions of these medicinal plants. Okay, as my colleague has just said, Dr. Manthi, through the Directorate of Sites and Monuments, we are collaborating with TICA in producing seedlings of medicinal plants in the Nairobi Botanic Garden, and this will be replicated across all NMK stations in the country. And I must emphasize here that we are almost in all the counties in this country. We have over 20 museums in different counties, and these will be the places where some of these seedlings will be, you can be able to reach out and get some of them. And this is towards contributing to the State Department of Culture to raise the 5 million seedlings through the National Museums of Kenya. And the objective of this initiative is to enhance communities' use of the gardens as a source of knowledge and material of medicinal plants, and achieve our national target and contribute to the global objective of climate change mitigation. I'm sure even as you practice traditional medicine, you're also aware of the challenges that we are facing as the globe, especially in matters of climate change. So she goes on to say that it is a sincere hope that the celebrations of the Traditional Medicine Day will bring out the role and contribution of traditional medicine in healthcare, thus giving it the due recognition and support to allow for its growth and development. She also encouraged the protection and promotion of traditional medicine in Kenya as part of our heritage, and also removing the stigma that stimulates debate on and consensus on the place of traditional medicine practice in Kenya, and finally refertilize and conservation of traditional medicine practice and medicinal plants. So on behalf of the Director General of the National Museums of Kenya, I wish you a happy, fruitful, and enriching deliberations as you commemorate and as we commemorate and celebrate the African Traditional Medicine Day. Thank you for being here, and we say that now these celebrations are officially opened, so we can clap for ourselves.
Thank you so much, Daktari. Now, we are all happy to be here, aren't we? Are you happy to be here? I guess you are here because you love the whole issue about traditional medicine. Is that right? Now, and I would like to say that we are also very happy with the partnership we have with the National Museums of Kenya. And as has been mentioned already, we have activities that happen at the National Museums here. And I would like to mention one particular one that happens every week. We do have what we call plant talks every Thursday at the National Museum, at the Medicinal Garden. So anytime you are free on Thursdays, you can pass by, you'll meet other enthusiasts to discuss about plant medicine. And we are going to do more in other places. Now, talking about traditional medicine, we consider this as an expression of our people's indigenous knowledge. This is knowledge that is not necessarily acquired from school. We have so many practitioners who have knowledge of medicine which they either inherited or got in different ways other than going to learn it in school. And we also recognize that even modern science uses that knowledge as their baseline. And that's why, as a people, as a country, we have to make sure that we give it space. The young people of today think if you didn't go to school, you may not have much to offer. But we have to let everyone know that even those who did not go to school or did not complete the whole system have some knowledge that could be shared and used further. In that partnership, we work also closely with the Department of Culture. We have discussed a number of things here and there, but I would like to invite the representative of the Department of Culture to come and make a brief presentation. Karibu sana.
Good morning. Yeah, my name's Okongo Manyibe. I'm representing the Director, Department of Culture, where traditional African medicine is domiciled. And we've walked a long way with the traditional practitioners, and in marking this day, the director has a brief report which I'll read to you. The Department of Culture is mandated with the responsibility to coordinate all programs at the national, regional, and international levels. And the above mandate, or the mandate itself, is anchored in the chapters in the Constitution of Kenya. The developed functions are in accordance with the guidelines provided in the 4th schedule, Part 1 and Part 2, 4H of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Articles 185, Part 2, and 186, Part 1, and 187, Part 2, on the distribution and the functions between the national and the county governments, as stipulated. The Department of Culture is also mandated with the development and implementation policy in the cultural spaces, including traditional medicine. In striving to promote the traditional medicine, the department has developed a national policy on culture and heritage, whose one of its tenets is premised on traditional medicine. The policy is premised upon the Constitution, which recognizes culture as the foundation of the national and culminative civilization of the Kenyan people and the nation. It provides direction to a suitable cultural development in Kenya. Notably, the policy, therefore, provides an enabling environment for appreciating, protecting, safeguarding, and promoting the culture of Kenya, as well as enforcing national unity and pride while stimulating creativity and innovation. Development of Traditional Knowledge and Cultural Expression Act 2016, revised in 2018, is another stride made by the department with the view of making the sector vibrant. This is coupled with its operationalization. Registration of traditional practitioners worldwide, countrywide, sorry, is also under the Department of Culture. In each year, the department marks a day, which is today, a celebration of African Traditional Medicine Day, that is on 31st of August every year, and a call for the importance of the traditional medicine is key on that. We also, as the department, organize capacity building workshops and exhibits for herbal practitioners. We also organize and promote cultural exchange programs, both inter and intra, with a view of learning and benchmarking best practices. And with this, I submit the report as given by the director, and wish each and every one of us a blessed day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. As we mentioned at the beginning as well, our work revolves around the practitioner and the user. And as I mentioned that in our previous engagements with the practitioners, we learned a lot, we shared a lot, and they were also very clear in terms of what they would wish to have as an enabling environment within the country. And to articulate that in a very short time, I'm going to invite Dr. Lydia Matoke to make a presentation of the view of the practitioner in terms of what they would wish happened.
Morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Lydia Matoke. the president of the Herbalist Society of Kenya. And we have been in the forefront, working very, very hard with the Department of Culture, with the Ministry of Health, and all those who are involved in streamlining herbal medicine in Kenya. Welcome. Today, it is Africa Traditional Medicine Day, which we have been celebrating from the year 2004. And as I can remember, this is where we started. So I take this opportunity to thank the NMK for always being there for us. I take the opportunity to thank the Ministry of Culture. I thank the Ministry of Health, more especially at this time when they have facilitated for the making and writing of the policy and the bill, which was all inclusive. All of us who are here, we were involved in coming up with the policy and the bill, which has separated us today from being out there, maybe having an exhibition, maybe dancing and the blowing of whistles, like another African country, the way it is being held all over Africa. We, the Herbalist Society of Kenya, and the rest of you, we are assembled here today to forge way forward on how best can we have a profession which is well regulated, because ours is to deal with the health of the nation. Welcome. When we go through the documents which we are talking about, when we talk about regulations, we have challenges that as herbalists we have been encountering, and which we hope that soon, and very soon, we are going to have an environment where we are going to operate, where each and every one of the Kenyan people are going to enjoy our services. Knowingly that traditional medicine, it is cheap, it is accessible, it is at the touch of your hand, because it is culturally ever there. Whichever tribe and whichever nation in the world, they have their traditional medicine, which now we call alternative when you go to a different country with your culture in herbal medicine. The first challenge, which we are hoping that we are going to overcome when the regulations will be in place, it is registration of the herbalists. We deal with health issues, but we are registered with the Department of Culture. We thank that department because they have been able to house us for this long, but it is time that we became independent as an independent department within the Ministry of Health, because we deal with health issues. We are not against the Department of Culture, because our medicines, they are culture. We learn more from our indigenous knowledge, but we deal with the health of the people. So the right place for us to be, as our hopes are, we are going to be under the Department of Traditional Medicine within the Ministry of Health. And that is why we are so happy that this year we are here engaging all of you as we celebrate that very soon we are moving from, as we are, the country's mainstreaming traditional medicine, as we move to the Ministry of Health, we shall be registered under the Ministry of Health. Like any other alternative medicine practitioners, when they come to Kenya, like the Chinese, the Indians, they are registered with the Ministry of Health. So that's where we all belong. And that was very crucial, because the traditional healers, they feel they are underrated when they are wrapped together with dancers and artists and the like. Another challenge which we are hoping that very soon we shall overcome is on registration of products. I hope somebody was here or is here from the Farmers and Poisons Board. At the Farmers and Poisons Board, the standards for us herbalists to get your product registered within that department, it is not possible. The standards as at now, they are all about allopathic medicine. There is full of science, and we hope that as this mainstreaming process is going on, the Farmers and Poisons Board will review those standards and get something better for us, where maybe they can just look at the contamination within the product. These are products which have been used from time immemorial, and most of the products are in powder form. So we should be able to have a standard which can enable the herbalist to live a life of, let me also quote, bottom up. Bottom up, we will start from where we have been, then we move up if we are going to be able to be allowed by a better system at the Farmers and Poisons Board, so that we can be able to register our products, so that we can be in the market. Another problem or challenge which we have been facing is all about research. Research is evidence-based. It will help us to have products, registered products, which have been validated, products which have been researched, products which can go into the world market. So when the Herbal Society of Kenya is advocating for the streamlining of traditional medicine and getting the traditional healers registered under the department, a separate department, a separate directorate department within the Ministry of Health, it is because we feel if that is done, then much more research can be accomplished in our country. While we are on that point, the effect of climate change. I'm so happy that NMK, they have that program of planting the medicinal plants. So we say ECHO, my request is, down on the ground, we should get the indigenous knowledge herbalists who are going to be able to identify our real medicinal plants to be included in the conservation of our forests because of the climate change and continuity of a supply of medicines as we are going to the Ministry of Health. Many people will have confidence in us, so we will require more medicine, more materials. Another issue, another challenge which has been there, lack of trainings, but I believe as we are streamlining traditional medicine to mainstream health care, the informal learning which has been there from time immemorial, it is good. And we give a credit to our grandparents who really have been holding on to us. What I'm trying to say on behalf of the herbalists in Kenya, we need formal learning. I know there could be a challenge. If a person never went to school, how do you expect him or her to go to KU and learn about plant medicine? What we mean as the Herbal Society of Kenya on behalf of the traditional healers in Kenya and alternative medicine practitioners, we mean that we can start low from good manufacturing processes or practices. How to harvest, how to dry, how to store, transportation, and processing methods so that the practitioners can have better medicines for the consumer. So our learning, educating that traditional healer, it will be a better step for the consumer to get the best from the practitioners. What has been missing most, it is the funding. Always, we want to do something. even as an association, and other organizations are there. How would we have attracted funding without regulations? If I can give a little example, we have worked in partnership with the Chinese for so long. They come to Kenya. Because we are registered under the Department of Culture, we cannot be allowed, as the Herbal Society of Kenya, through Hope Natural Health Care Center, an alternative medicine and traditional medicine hospital in Nakuru. We got the Ministry of Health, we are told, just go ahead. We go to the county level, we are told they don't understand what we are doing. So just go ahead and have your free medical camp. But these people, as much as the Chinese government was so willing to open up an alternative medicine hospital in Kenya, we lacked regulations. That's one point which I give echo to the Minister of Health to have facilitated for the process of coming up with regulations for for traditional medicine. So once we have that in place, for sure, I think Kenya, even the Minister of Finance, even the Minister of Planning, will be there for the sector. What is our way forward as the herbalists? What is our way forward? We have a question to ask. What is this time in Africa that Kenya, of all the countries within the East Africa, we don't have regulations in traditional medicine? What I'm asking on behalf of the traditional healers, how much more time, I wish Dr. Sarah would be around, how much more time does the Ministry of Health need so that they can proceed with the documents which we have since Manzoni, where we were involved to go through the documents, and the changes were made. We submitted them to the Ministry of Health. They made the changes. Where are the documents? We have not heard anything in Parliament. We have not heard anybody talk about it. How long is it going to take? And who is going to do the fast tracking of the bill to be taken to Parliament? What are we going to do? Is it an MOU? Because today we were supposed to be somewhere in a stadium dancing for our Africa Traditional Medicine Day, but we are here because we are not happy. As much as we are very happy with the researchers who have been working with us, we are very happy with the Department of Culture. We are very, very happy with the TICA who have held our hands this far, but we are not happy. That's why we are here today asking the Ministry of Health, how long are you going to take? How much more time are we going to give the Ministry of Health so that we can get these documents in Parliament and we get regulations? How long are people going to suffer with the cancer without solution, and yet there's a solution in traditional medicine? How long are we going to run away from our culture, and yet that cultural medicine is a cure? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, those are questions that the Ministry of Health will answer. And the good thing is that they have a very long time here to answer these questions. If you look at the program, we have given them a lot of time to answer those questions. And after they have answered, we will have another session to ask them more questions. Anyway, we are celebrating the moment, and so far so good. Cindy? Now, I would like to call upon our head of programs, TICA, to tell you a little bit more about TICA. Karibu sana, Marekani.
I will spend the least amount of time to tell you about TICA and focus mostly on why we think this day is important. But we'll have a chance to chat out of the auditorium if you want to know more about our programs. But yeah, borrowing from NACOSTI's theme for celebrating traditional Africa Traditional Medicines Day, they say they are working towards achieving universal coverage in Africa, progress towards achieving universal health coverage in Africa. And I think that is quite a fitting theme because all of us as stakeholders in this room are interested in interrogating the opportunities that Kenya has and needs to enhance its local resources in the treatment of illnesses and to the contribution of well-being of Kenyans and the world through traditional medicine. Now, marking this event is especially special to TICA because we are marking our 20th anniversary. TICA was initiated in the year 2003, and the Africa Traditional Medicine Day was also initiated in 2003, but commemorated in Kenya in it was initiated in 2003 and celebrated in Kenya in 2004. So it's actually a special occasion because both of us as institutions, the day and TICA are marking our anniversaries. TICA, we think holistically, and our mindset is thinking holistically, and holistically for us means that, we believe that health should not just be measured by our physical well-being, but also by our mental and emotional well-being, and that we need to connect with our cultures and with each other. So this day is especially important to us because one of our programs and the 4 ways we work is to join communities to celebrate indigenous knowledge and culture and to find ways to solve contemporary problems. And one of those contemporary problems, of course, is illness and even the rise of, some diseases that traditionally were not African, like non-communicable diseases. And why is that so? Perhaps we stopped looking inwardly in our indigenous knowledge and we stopped trusting ourselves and started trusting, for example, Asian medicine, when African medicine was sitting right here. So we are actually interested in having, conversations, and we will spend a significant portion of our time to discuss the progress towards drafting of the Traditional Alternative Health Practitioners Bill and policy. Now, I believe the bill will go a long way in promoting and preserving Kenya's indigenous knowledge as relates to traditional medicine. Now, the bill makes provisions for training, registration, licensing of traditional and alternative health practitioners, and it regulates their practice and profession, and also provides for the establishment of the Traditional and Alternative Health Practitioners Council. So, I am confident that all of us as stakeholders in the room today, we will join in the rich discussions and celebrate. We will not forget to celebrate the milestones we have achieved so far in the sector, and we want to articulate the roadmap towards the ratification of a draft policy and a bill that will support the practice of traditional medicine in Africa. With those short remarks, I want to thank you so much for gracing this occasion and look forward to these rich discussions. Thank you.
Asante sana. I would like to take this opportunity also to recognize the presence of our members of parliament. We have Honorable Engineer Hamisi and Honorable Anthony Olwoch. The reason why they are with us today, I don't know about their use of traditional medicine, that one they'll tell us, but I know that this is an idea they are so much in love with, because if we can have our people have options when it comes to medical services, that instead of spending so much money at the chemist, they could basically just do a concoction of artemisia that is growing behind the house. That would be a good thing. So, as members of parliament, I will give them an opportunity shortly to say hello to you. But before then, I would like to call upon another stakeholder, key stakeholder, and this is from Kenyatta University. We also work closely with our institutions of higher learning, because this is how we add value to the indigenous knowledge that our people have. And these are the places our people go when they want to validate the knowledge they have. If they say, I know a plant that treats stomachache, who else can prove that? So sometimes they have to go to these institutions to help them do a bit of research here and there and validate that information. Thank you and welcome. Asante-san.
Good morning again, members. I want to thank the organizers of this event, TICA, the Ministry of Health, and also the Department of Culture for giving us the forum to say how we are creating an enabling environment for traditional medicine. I'm also humbled to be part of this celebration. My name is Onyambu Ondora Meshak from Kenyatta University. I am a stakeholder in traditional medicine, not just representing the university, but I've done a lot of research in traditional medicine. Since 2008, when I was doing my master's program, I worked closely with herbalists, and we made a lot of contributions in knowledge which are shaped policy. And sometime around 2013, in my PhD, I also worked with herbalists in the quest to contribute again to traditional medicines. So we have a lot of initiatives that I will enumerate shortly. But let me say that in the universities, we work with facts. And what are the facts about traditional medicine? The fact is it's highly utilized among our local communities. And the data has it that the traditional health practitioner to the population ratio in Kenya as of 2016 was 1 to 833, while that of the conventional doctor to the population was 1 to 4,761. And what does that tell you? Is that the traditional practitioner is closer to the population. It has been reported that there is high success rate in therapeutic claims against various diseases, including malaria, pneumonia, and boosting immunity. I have verified myself through my researches. Through our students, we have also validated a number of these claims. However, it's interesting that we don't have a locally registered medicinal product from our herbalist. And what is the reason? Before I say it, let me reiterate the role of traditional medicine in attainment of 100% universal health care, which is actually among our key focus of the government of Kenya. That Kenya has adopted universal health coverage, we know that, which ensures 100% cost subsidy on health services. So much efforts have been going on, but what is the current status? not even 50% has been attained, and it's predicted that it will be around 60% by 2030. What has happened in other countries? Because when we talk about universal health care, we are saying that every citizen has a right to health. But this health is mostly procured from foreign countries. So if you are saying you want to attain 100% and you don't have anything local, it's a challenge. Those countries who have been able to integrate actually have attained this 100%. And examples are countries like Japan and even Ghana. There is evidence that the integration of traditional medicine has contributed to attainment of nearly 100% of universal health care. So in our opinion, quality traditional medicine presents the opportunity for Kenya to attain close to 100% universal health care, because traditional medicine is accessible, acceptable, affordable, and also can be sustainable and mark quality. That is where we come in. So, to integrate means to use together in a harmonious way. To complement, we cannot negate or we cannot ignore the role of conventional medicine, which is fast, evidence-based, and effective. But we have also observed that traditional medicine is almost 70% of our population are using for primary health care. So what we need, it is integration. But for integration to happen, there are key determinants, which includes policy, safety, efficacy, and quality, conservation, where we get the product from, production and domestication, commercialization, and also aspects of access and rational use must be taken into consideration. Even as we talk about this, those who have Google, I want you to refer. Sometimes in 2010, when I was doing my research in the National Quality Control Lab, I was looking at contamination of traditional herbs. I was in the middle of my research, and on Sunday, February 7th, 2010, I saw a title in the Daily Nation, Kenya Herbal Drugs Highly Contaminated. Actually, the reporting was based on my research, but that was not the correct information from my research. So I'm talking about the rhetoric and the perception that we are creating on traditional medicine, the incorrect information. And we have seen all this. Again, on February 2019, there was a huge title about how the law has left you exposed. Another daily was talking about 70% of herbal medicine in the country contaminated. How are we shaping the rhetoric in herbal medicine? So the problem has much to do with the legal issues. According to the legal notice 192 of 2010, Gazette number 1879, 21st March, and also 2014, Pharmacy and Poisons Board is mandated to regulate and register herbal medicines and products. And it requires what the Herbalist Society president enumerated. So to register a product, you need a certificate report from an independent, recognized quality control laboratory, a report of some parameters. But what is the greatest challenge is the herbalist able to generate this report. Even WHO has appreciated this. In their report, sometime 2012, they said in a global survey, they said the greatest challenge for traditional medicine was a lack of mechanisms to monitor safety, control, and regulate quality. So the need for requisite quality data for registration and commercialization has motivated what now the university are looking. And this I want to focus on the Health Act, which had about 6 areas of focus about promotion of traditional medicine, practitioner, product. There was an element of referral mechanisms and other aspects which you know. So as a university, in universities, what are we supposed to help even with those challenges that we have already enumerated? The role of university is anchored in 3 domains, that is teaching, research, and community service. And in teaching, we have tried to incorporate traditional medicine in curriculums. I told you I'm a lecturer of traditional medicine. We teach medicine students some element of traditional medicines to change perception, to make them have some understanding that before they handle a patient, someone else could have already handled. We know that Kenyans actually go to the hospital after they have used some alternative. And our students, our doctors now who are graduating are aware. This is not a very old development. It started sometimes around 2010, and a few universities have incorporated this in the teaching of curriculum for Bachelor of Pharmacy, Bachelor of Medicine, other public health courses, and including also nursing. So we are injecting some element of traditional medicine in curriculum to change perception from the health practitioners who mostly have been having a very negative attitude towards traditional medicine. Research, as I told you, most of my works have been about traditional medicine, and we also thank the National Research Fund who have funded about 3 projects which have been involved on trying to validate some of the claims that we have in traditional medicine. I'm happy to have worked with some of you herbalists, and we are making very good progress in analysis as far as the validation is concerned. So that in that case, we are trying to provide that best environment through validation of the claims that herbalists are saying they do. So those are known claims. The other thing that we are doing in research is trying to document and mapping, documentation and mapping. That means through our students, we are documenting, for example, some of the traditional herbs used for certain diseases, because we are being as specific as possible. Certain diseases in certain areas. Some of the plants used, their status, whether they are endangered or not. And I urge that we work with those who are herbalists and those who are going to be planting these trees. We have the data on some of the endangered traditional medicines which are useful for our society. Then quality control and also standardization is also part of the research that we do. And in community service, capacity building, I know we have had sessions with traditional healers in our university through their leadership, looking at how can we collaborate. And these conversations are there. The collaboration aspects are at very advanced stages. So with that aspect of research, validation, documentation, in sometimes 2018, National Research Fund gave Kenyatta University around 100 million for equipment that would enable us check the quality of traditional medicines and also do the validation that we are now talking about. So in this laboratory, there are several things or parameters that we check, like identification of plants with therapeutic claims, phytochemical screening of active and inactive ingredients, evaluation of efficacy and safety of the phytotherapeuticals, microbiological analysis and quantification of both macro and micronutrients of apple plants. We also do what we call fingerprints. One of the challenges that has happened over time is how do you evaluate the quality of a herb when in conventional medicine we look at one single ingredient which is active. But in traditional medicine, a herb has several ingredients, what we call multi-component. And that is why I know herbalists, you give a herb and you say it treats about 40 diseases. And someone actually wonders how, but it is possible because this herb has over 40 active ingredients, or over 40 compounds. Some have even 100 compounds. So when we wonder how, that is exactly possible. So the fingerprinting is meant to provide a profile of these phytoconstituents and other evidence for the quality. So the other thing is upscaling and the production of phytotherapeuticals. So in this respect, we urge for, again, the collaboration with the ministry, because this is a government facility, and the herbalists are grappling with the challenge on how to get their works registered. If we worked with the ministry very closely, it is possible to have all these things done, because this facility is there. And if it is recognized as part of the quality, as part of the lab that can validate quality, it is ready to do that job. We have all the equipment for the same. So I don't want to delve into much. The other things we shall talk while we are engaging in the question and the answer. And I believe that with the little that I have shared, you now know how we are providing the best environment for the thriving of traditional medicine in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Onyambu Meshak. You can see when you talk about traditional medicine, we are not talking of things that are not known. These things are known. Maybe we just don't know them. And I like that example that herbal medicine can treat 40, and you've heard it from the scientists. So when they tell you, okay, take one glass, it will help you with, and then they start listing 1 to 10, and you feel like, hey, which magic is this? Maybe the best person to ask are the people at the universities and the research institutions to validate that kind of information. let me just also mention that, as Daktari was speaking, the issue of integration of traditional medicine into our healthcare system. A basic example being, if you went to hospital and you said, instead of taking this medicine, I want to take my traditional medicine, and you have a medical cover, can your insurance pay for it? Right now, they can't. And simply because we don't have any regulation that requires them to do so. So when we hammer this point of, let's have a legal framework that will favor traditional medicine to show up, we really mean that it is urgent. And it is, kama si sasa, sasa hivi. Still talking of research, we also work very well with KEMRI. I haven't spotted KEMRI. Oh, sorry. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So it's our time to listen briefly. Let's make it as brief because we know there'll be questions, and we also don't want to lose the focus on kama si sasa, ni sasa hivi. So let's welcome Dr. James Kuria, representing KEMRI.
Jambo. Nimeona mahali nilitaka niketi kwa sababu, like someone said, she wanted to learn, and I think I wanted to learn more than to say much really. So ndio maana niliketi pale nilipokuwa nimeketi, na nafikiri cha kwanza cha kufanya ni kupongeza sana HSK na jitihada ambazo mmeweka. Mam, hiyo kazi ni nyingi, na kwamba mmesimama kidete muda wote huu hadi kufikia sasa, nafikiri kwamba mnahitaji kupongezwa kabisa. Na yeah, kwa sababu kama sote tunavyojua, tangu tunaita Witchcraft Act, na hakika tunaijua, baadhi ya haya mambo huonekana ni madogo, lakini yanakuwa na adhari ambazo haziishi kwa haraka. Na someone, professor mentioned about the rhetoric ambayo iko na the sort of attitude that people have towards traditional medicine. And you really can't blame journalists, you can't blame anyone. It's something that has happened historically, and it's there, it's in our minds. Na ni jambo ambalo halitoki kwa haraka. Na kuona kwamba muungano huu umesimama kidete mpaka sasa, hawajafa moyo, kwa sababu yamekuwa mengi ambayo yangewafisha moyo. Nafikiri tunapasa kuwapongeza kabisa. Kile ambacho ningeomba na ningependekeza, kwa sababu hakuna majibu ya haraka. Ni mwendo, ni safari, na tumesafiri umbali huu, tusichoke. Lakini ninataka tu kurudia maneno ambayo yametajwa na professor hapa about integration. In negotiation there is something they call the third alternative. Kuna msimamo wa pande hii, kuna msimamo wa pande hii. Kuna watu wanatetea, wanasema madawa ya kizungu ndio madawa. Wengine tunatetea, tunasema madawa ya kiasili ndio madawa. Lakini nataka nipendekeze tutafute njia katikati. Kwa sababu tukisimama huku na wengine wasimame huku, itakuwa ni vigumu. Kwa hiyo ningependekeza kwamba mimi nimesomeshwa kizungu. Ninyi mmepata maarifa yenu kiasili. Kile ambacho ningependekeza, hata takapokuwa tunaketi kuzungumza pamoja, kwamba tuwe na mtazamo huo. Kwamba tusishike msimamo mmoja tukwame nao, lakini tutafute njia katikati. Kwa sababu kama vile tumetaja mara nyingi, hii ni safari, na hakika hata wale ambao wameketi hapa wa Ministry of Health hawana majibu yote. Nina hakika kwamba wameweka jitihada, lakini mpaka sasa kuna vizuizi ambavyo vimefanya haijawezekana. Upande wetu vile vile pia kuna vizuizi. Kwa hiyo kama tukitafuta njia katikati, tulete huku madawa ya kiasili, tulete huku madawa ya kizungu na utafiti wa kizungu, nina hakika kwamba tukiwa na mtazamo huo tutapata suluhisho la haraka zaidi. Na nashukuru sana kuwa kikaoni hiki, na pia ningetaka kusema kwamba nimetambua pia na wakuu ambao wako hapa, na wabunge. Tunashukuru sana kwamba mmejitoa kusimama na this course ambao si watu wengi wanaupenda, So to see you here, really we appreciate, and we really want to just recognize you for coming. And asanteni sana kwa muda wenu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kuria. And I've been notified by the sound guys that those who are seated behind there, please mute your phones. They seem to be picking your ringtones. Now it's a moment to invite our members of parliament to make a brief remark. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Honorable Anthony Oluoch.
Good morning, and thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Anthony Oluoch, a member of parliament for Mathare constituency, and I'm very excited to be here today to join in this discussion on how we can integrate traditional medicine into our healthcare system. It comes at a time when, and I'm sure you're all aware, the cabinet okayed 4 bills actually, which would essentially overhaul our healthcare system and make it easier for us to attain universal healthcare. And surprisingly, and I was making this discussion with him, the one on traditional medicine is not among those that are okayed by the cabinet, which begs the question whether the ministry or the government itself considers traditional medicine to be inferior or inappropriate. I think this is a discussion we must have now, isn't it? We must have that discussion now, because then you ask the question, 70%, and that has been said a few minutes ago, of the primary contact that you have with any person in 70% of the instances in our rural places, in the informal settlements from where I come from, like Mathare, I think the first point of call or contact would most likely be access to traditional medicine, isn't it? So if that is the first access, I think it behooves us to try and integrate, put systems, put regulations, put laws that can be able to standardize, review them for quality, potency, and efficacy, so that whatever it is that would make the people or the government think that it is not safe becomes safe, isn't it? I come from an informal settlement in which a lot of people there do brewing of changa, and my dad was brought up by my grandmother brewing changa, and for a long time I have played around with the idea of bringing a bill in parliament in which we standardize the brewing of changa, and I know that's very controversial, but the fact of the matter is a lot of our people consume changa, isn't it? And buza. And across in Uganda, they have standardized waragi, isn't it? So why have we stigmatized our local brews and given them that bad tag, changa, when a lot of our people, they do a living out of this, isn't it? A lot of the people cannot afford what you do as whiskey and all these brandies and things that you do in these bottled beers, isn't it? In the end, you actually find that it is a bigger war of manufacturers to continue branding what is our local things and brand them a bad name. So what the brewers do in the industry ya kubrew, ya kupatia changa na buza jina mbaya na kakarobo, for those of us wakamba wale wako hapa mnajua karobo, isn't it? I think Kikuyus do that. That same war is also in the pharmaceutical industry. What happened to Arthur Bell, Professor Arthur Bell, and the medicine, that the breakthrough that he almost had, and I think he had, on the medicine near HIV. I think there was a breakthrough there. What happened to Arthur Bell? I think big pharmaceuticals conspired. So this is a big conspiracy against traditional medicine. And we must realize that as we are reviewing our health laws, we must reduce the dependency on Western modern medicine and pharmaceuticals. If you leave out the one for Arthur Obel on AIDS, yeah? There are things people don't like to talk about. The Western people have come out with Viagra to sort out things of ED, erectile dysfunctions. But you just need to walk to Kajiado and Upper Masaini wako na madawa mengi that deals with issues of male potency. Is that true or not true? Wako nazo. You just go here and those things, if you were to ask me, they have less health risks than the Western modern medicines. So for everything that you will say about the advantages, safety, nini of Western medicine, the advantages and perhaps more advantages of using traditional medicine, access being one of them. They're easily accessible. They are safer. They come from our local environment. We extract them from trees, from herbs and other things, isn't it? So this is a conversation that I am excited is happening at the time when the government okayed, I think, the Primary Health Care Bill 2023, the Social Health Insurance Bill of 2023, the Digital Health Bill of 2023, and I think Facility Improvement. And you yourself, who are the practitioners and the stakeholders, must deal head-on with this perception of traditional medicines equals death or is equals to bad medicine or is equal to witchcraft. Mitishamba and what you call waganga, they are just doctors in an African Kenyan name, isn't it? So you must deal with that perception issue. Thank you.
He has said it. Sindio? Nothing to add on that. Let's listen now to Honorable Engineer Hamisi.
Good morning. All protocol observed. And I wish to recognize the National Museum, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Health, Cambridge, Kenyatta University, TICA, and the practitioners. I got the invitation to come here, and it was very exciting simply because where I come from, and I represent a rural constituency, I come from Voi constituency. Talking to people, you get the perception that they trust more traditional or alternative medicine as opposed to modern medicine. Yeah, a lot of people will tell you they don't, mainly because of the stigma that has been attached to traditional medicine for a long time. And if you go and look at the history of it, this is just has been part of that brainwashing, colonization, and we need to decolonize our minds. After independence, the biggest enemy to traditional medicine is the big pharmaceutical companies. If people were to use regularly, very widespread, traditional medicine, then you would see that the people whose vested interest will be affected would be really the big pharmaceutical companies. And therefore, any alternative, any attempt to make traditional medicine coexist with modern medicine will actually be fought. It will not be easy. As you all as the ministry prepares the regulation, you can imagine there'll be a big lobby out there. Probably you can't touch it, but you will feel it. That will be against it. And we shouldn't be discouraged. Not at all. I would actually encourage the ministry to actually fast track the policy. You see, you make policy, then you come into make laws out of the policy, then you make regulations out of the law. So if that happens, and as a member of parliament, I would actually encourage them to engage the relevant committee and start talking. So by the time it comes to parliament, the actual committee that would bring it to parliament would be actually very conversant with actually what traditional medicine is all about. And I have had statistics, and the statistics are very encouraging. If you've got one herbalist per every 833 people, but then you have one doctor for over 4,000, it tells you that a lot of access out there is actually people are getting their health care through alternative medicine. And we need to have an empirical approach. I know science is evidence-based, but as a student of physics, I learned when I was probably in Form 2, Form 3, a lot of the formulae that were used previously were actually from observed what was happening, and then they came with empirical formulas. And that approach might have to be looked at when you look at alternative medicine. We need to go back to the basics and see what is it that we need to do, and we have them move together. For me today, I come here excited, and I congratulate you who've been working in this field, because I see the challenge where the people I represent, and I believe, were it not for what most of you are doing, probably a lot of them would actually be suffering. Access to healthcare facilities is very low. It takes long distance to get to the facilities, and definitely the approach you have is very good. One thing that also threatens traditional medicine is our way of life. We have very little room nowadays in our modern life for passing on indigenous knowledge, and therefore the researchers here would really help us, because they have to put it together so that it can be passed on through the formal learning institutions, even though it is indigenous knowledge. As a young man, I would, and as a young boy, I would sit with my grandfather. I would have extensive time with my father, uncles, neighbors, elders. I don't want to talk about other parents. I just want to talk about myself. I don't find myself giving that much time to my own children. Man, it's not because that I don't want to do it. It is just the way their life is now structured and mine is structured, is that we cannot do it. So we need the knowledge that you have to be collected, collated, compiled, and made available. One ways that we could look at is to introduce alternative medicine at different levels. We have TVETs, and we could have a branch that would deal with that kind of thing. You have the KMTCs, you could introduce it, but first it has to be collected, put together, have a curriculum, but this is very important, otherwise we will lose it. I know a lot of people have spoken about conserving the plants and all that. That is, the structures are only there. There, I think we just need the political goodwill. We've got KEFRI, we've got KFS and the rest, we've got national museums, but the knowledge itself. During the introductions, when people are going on, a lot of 2-3 people say they learned it from their own parents. It would probably be good to see if they themselves have passed it on to their children. So I think I don't want to go on. One of the last things I'll say is that we need to establish a mechanism for traditional alternative medicine to formally coexist with modern medicine. This is very important. And also, we need to destigmatize. Those of us who remember when AIDS came in and all that, and recently COVID. You know, somebody had COVID and nobody didn't know what to do with it. And I'll tell you something, we could be seated here and a couple of people could still be having COVID. But we've moved on from that, whatever. What I want to see is that somebody who chooses to use alternative medicine would actually leave and tell you, my brother, just drop me there, mi naenda kuona tabibu wangu, ama naenda kuona mganga wangu. But now saizi, mtu anasema pole pole, unajua, boss, mi naenda kuona, kule kwetu wanazungumza Kiswahili, wasema, kuna fundi mzuri pale. Sasa nashinda, wewe ni mgonjwa unaenda kuona fundi ndio ushonewe nguo ama nini? Na kule pwani kuna watu kama Mombasa, kuna watu wanaitwa matabibu. Tabibu, unapata mtu amepata stroke, hawezi kutembea, na anakwenda kwa tabibu na ananyoshwa viungo, anapakwa mafuta ya karafuu yamechanganywa na vitu vingine. It is something that we do every day. In fact, the first thing when you get a stroke, somebody will tell you, usiende hospitali, wewe utatembea, nenda kwa tabibu kwanza unyoshwe, alafu ndio uende hospitali. Wale wanatoka pwani, ni kweli ama si kweli? Sasa, if traditional medicine, alternative medicine is not working, why would you give that advice? I remember I gave the same advice to my own sister. So I'm not talking about my constituent. Mwambia, we umepata hii, tafadhali nenda kwa tabibu kwanza unyoshe alafu uende hospitali. Lakini usikose kwenda hospitali. Lakini ukikanyaga hospitali kabla hujakwenda kwa tabibu, umeisha. Mkono wako hautarudi. Kwa hivyo mnafanya kazi nzuri. Hii nyingine ya sheria ni kwa sababu kila kitu lazima kiwekwe katika msingi ya sheria, na muhimu zaidi ni wale ambao wana nia mbaya. Wale wanataka kuleta shakahola sasa ya matibabu. Si unajua watu wanaenda kanisani, watu wanakwenda msikitini, watu wana imani, lakini watu wametumia imani kuharibu mambo fulani. Ili kuchunga hii taaluma yenu isitumike vibaya, ni muhimu iwe imeratibiwa kisheria, iwe watu wanasajiliwa, ijulikane misingi namna gani, ili anataka kuingia pia ajulikane, ndio wale ambao wanataka kuja kuharibu hiyo taaluma, ama wale ambao wanafanya sasa mambo kinyume na taaluma ya matibabu ya kienyeji, watakuwa hawana nafasi. Asanteni sana, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Engineer Hamisi, mbunge wa Voi. I would also like to recognize the presence of the head of the directorate, Dr. Menge, from the Ministry of Health. And it's very good we are getting closer to the ministry session. I would just like to repeat this statement. I've said it so many times, so if you heard it, please just know it's not the last time I'm saying it. We normally ask, if at all our forefathers did not have a way of keeping themselves alive, would we be here? Don't we know when Western education came to Africa? When Western education came to Africa, when modern hospitals started, we all know it's in history. But our ancestors were there before then, right? if they had no clue of how to treat a flu or even just headache or any illness, would we be here? Now, we also work very closely with UNESCO, and I've not cited a representative of UNESCO. If there is, please, just recognize your participation. Okay, clear. Thank you so much for that session. It was a session for us to share what we do in different ways to create an enabling environment for traditional medicine to thrive. So far, the message is very clear. We all understand and appreciate the significance, umuhimu wa traditional medicine. And as Mheshimiwa Hamisi has mentioned, it would be very important going forward to have a regulation that will enable the user, the consumer, kama mimi, to tell the difference between a genuine practitioner and a quack. Walking around the streets, kuna madaktari wengi, na wengi wao huwa wanatoka Tanzania. Sababu gani? They don't want you to know where they come from. Na wanatibu kila kitu, including wasiwasi, kutokuwa na pesa, kushinda kesi kotini. That's not what we are talking about here. And when people can't tell the difference, that's where our problem begins. Because then, when you say you are a practitioner, they think you are now the person who has advertised on the electricity post. So we would like this to happen as soon as possible so that there is clarity. And then now people who are genuinely informed and knowledgeable can come forward, work with researchers, and get our own medicine. The same people who don't like traditional medicine go and buy herbal products from China, not knowing that those guys traditional medicine. Ours could also be exported to other countries, and somebody in another country would buy herbal product from Kenya. But only if we prepare it according to, at least there must be some standards, something that even you as the practitioner can be proud of. And that's why we are calling upon the ministry, being our heads, our drivers of this bus, waongeze speed kidogo, si ndio? Tumetoa ile signpost ya 50 limit 50 kilometers, we can allow them to go at 80. And I think they've already started. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the time to welcome Dr. Sarah to let us know how far we are and how far we are yet to go. Welcome, Dr. Sarah from the ministry. The session now is yours. Thank you.
I think we are still in the morning. So thank you for all your presentations. Thank you for all the insights. I think we're also learning from each other. There's someone who had said that they were coming to learn. I hope you're learning and knowing how far we are in traditional medicine. It's also a good thing we have the research institutions here. I'm also happy to hear from KU how far they are working with the herbalists. You know, I had a short presentation just to show you where we are at the ministry and how far we've come with this traditional and the bill and the policy. Yeah. So far, we know that, yeah, he's yet to start. But so far, we know that the person from culture mentioned that we have the traditional alternative practitioners, yeah? The traditional herbalists are housed in the Ministry of Culture. But it doesn't mean that we don't interact with them. We do interact with them in one way or the other. how do we go about in regulating, in listing our products. We've visited, we've had interactions with many of them. Okay. Yeah, so again, we recognize that even the products, as they're also regulated by the Pharmacy and Poisons Board. Someone mentioned here about the products and the regulation. One thing is that they're just been asked to list them. So they're supposed to give a few facts about the medicine that they're working on. So some of the herbalists will find that a bit cumbersome. But again, it's for your own good also that we try and get there. Yeah. Sometimes technology can fail us, but I'm hoping he'll manage. Okay, again, we know you've already come here and said that you've practiced traditional medicine for years and years, yeah? And again, what we're looking for, even to us as we celebrate this day, is creating the public awareness. And that is what we're trying to push for. So that even by the time the bill gets to the parliament and eventually to the public participation, because someone mentioned here that getting a bill into law is a process. So as we work on that, I wanted to show you on the steps that we have taken so far towards the policy and the bill. Okay, we started this process. This process started in 2018. This process we started in 2018. It's not a process that just started like 5 or so years ago, but it's a process that has been ongoing. And we started in 2018 in a technical working group, which was appointed by the CS, was called, and they formed the policy. They sat down and did the policy and the bill. A few members are here, I think. Most members were here who are involved. A few members are here, especially even the research institutions were all involved. All the stakeholders were involved. Then in 2020, kindly go to PowerPoint, then you move on. In 2020, after they've had several meetings, in 2020, we had go to slide number 4, please. Slide 4, next. Next. In 2018, we had, as you can see, in 2018 we had technical working groups which were appointed. In 2020, we held an internal stakeholders meeting, validation meeting, just to see how the bill has been written and the policy. Again, in 2022, we held an external validation meeting. In 2023, where we are currently, it's where that now the policy and the bill has been sent to the legal office in the Ministry of Health for forwarding to the AG and following the due process until it gets to Parliament. Next. So the traditional and alternative bill is an act of Parliament that makes provisions for the training, registration, there's someone who mentioned it, and licensing, and also to regulate the profession and the practice. It also provides the establishment, the powers, and the functions of the Traditional and Alternative Health Practitioners Council. So this is just also to help in the regulation of the practice. Again, when you look at the policy, next. When you look at the policy, next slide. When you look at the policy, some of the activities that were mentioned here in terms of working with the research institutions, working to conserve the environment, those are the things that have been mentioned in the policy of how they will be delivered. So again, the implementation of the policy will require mutual cooperation between the different stakeholders. So even the policy is also at the same level. And it was also developed through a consultative process. Again, remember when this technical working group was formed, it was a multi-stakeholder working group. Even as we went through the whole process of validating the whole document, validating the documents, we also involved most of you in terms of saying this is what has been agreed upon. I think Dr. Lydia had mentioned that she participated in it. Yeah, so what are the main challenges that we are facing in the traditional medicine? These I don't need to retaliate. Again, it's the next. It's the lack of adequate regulation, which has again been mentioned, and registration of the products and both the practitioners. Again, you also have inadequate training, but someone has said that here from KU that they're integrating, they're trying to also involve those who are currently studying and giving them a small touch of traditional medicine. Again, we have lack of national standards for ensuring safety, inadequate allocation of resources for the traditional medicine. So far, what has been done? Next. What has been done and what is positive about this that we should be celebrating today? One, we have a draft policy and we have a draft bill that is already in place. It's already at the legal office at the MOH for forwarding to the DG's office and also for forwarding to Parliament. So someone mentioned they have not seen it in Parliament, but it is going together. So it has to follow the due process. So with those remarks, I think I end my presentation there. Welcome. We'll have a question and answer session. And hopefully I can be able to also answer all the questions, but I've answered all the questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't know if we have an extra mic that could go around. Do we have one? Okay, one. That's okay. So what we'll do for our plenary session, our sitting arrangement doesn't look so much of a plenary, but we will try to make do with it. We will have questions from your side now. Yes, I can see a hand up. Is it what we are yet to do, or it's a point of order? A point of order. Or question, just hold on. Let me, you will come in. Let me just explain how we go about it. So you will raise your question, and Dr. Sarah and the team from the ministry will note them down. And maybe we can pick 3 questions at a time. They respond to that, then we pick another 3. We don't want to stay here for a very long time, so what I would request is that we focus our questions and comments to the roadmap, to the process, instead of the content. As we mentioned last year, we talked so much about the content of this document. There were suggestions on amendments, some of which have been done. But then, as also had been mentioned, that public participation is not closed. Even when it goes to Parliament, there'll still be public participation, and there'll be amendments. MPs will make amendments. But because we want to move forward, let's focus our question in terms of where do we go from here? Then we can leave this meeting with a roadmap, a clear timeline, knowing that next time we are meeting, we'll be talking about something else. We would like to avoid describing the problem because we have done that for so many years. In TICA, we have done it for over 10 years. So we don't want to talk about the problem. We have the solutions, some of which in the draft documents. And that, as we've said, is something that will continue improving as we move forward. But the big question in the room is, for how long will we wait? So let's have the mic go to him first. You can mention your name, please, and where you come from, and then ask the question.
Yes. Habari ya asubuhi. Naam, ni mjana. Habari ya mjana. Basi, mimi naitwa Josephat Butichi Makamu kutoka Western Muluya. Ushere bosi. Ama Bwiranga. Basi, waje si ndio ni traditional way. Mimi ningependa kuuliza swali hivi. Tumesikia mambo ya Japan wana practice traditional. Tumesikia watu kama Ghana wanaendelea hivyo. Sasa sisi hapa Western, sasa sisi hapa Kenya, tungeomba sasa sisi herbalist tupewe barua, yani cards ya kuonyesha, kwa sababu tunaenda Kenyatta kujificha tukipatia mgonjwa madawa na anapona. Tunafichanga tu, daktari akienda hivi tunapatiana kisiri. Sasa isikuwe kisiri, wanapewa kitambulisho, wanajua traditional au wamejaribu wanashindwa, alafu wanakuita uko na mgonjwa au uko daktari anaweza kusaidia wewe, mgonjwa anasema ndio, waje nijaribu kienyeji, kwa sababu tunaendanga ukipatikana utawekwa ndani.
Asante
Yeah.
Kwa hivyo
sasa kama example nilienda Kenyatta siku moja.
Kwa hivyo swali lako ni jinsi gani utakuwa registered utambulike. Hiyo wameandika. Tupate swali lingine, utajibiwa tafadhali, sawa?
Sawa sawa.
Asante. Okay. Mike iko nyuma yako.
Good afternoon to everyone. Okay, my name is David Wata, a clinical herbalist. So my first question is that I would want to know from the Ministry of Health, what time frame are they going to give us, or what time frame that we should give them in order for us to see some progress of that bill that we are talking about. Then my second question goes to around 3 institutions. That's KEMRI, Professor from KU, and National Museum of Kenya. There is a place you talked about the phytochemicals analysis. I think it would be appropriate for us herbalists to know the cost and the time frame for analysis so that it can help us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Virginia Webeti from Membu. Swali yangu ni kwa Ministry of Health. Ni kuwauliza, hapa tumesikia kuna disagreement ya tiba asili na health. Na tumesikia tukiambiwa ate ni kwamba hiyo katikati itatafutiwa njia ili tupate answer. Ni kuuliza, hiyo answer nani watatafutwa ili watatue juu hiyo kitu tunataka iharakishwe as soon as possible, juu watu wanakufa bure na dawa za wasungu tunatumia instead of tutumie dawa zetu za kiasili zenye zilikuwa zinapona mapapu zetu. Asante.
Asante sana. So do we want to respond to those first? Let's get the response from the ministry first, then we'll take another set of questions.
I have my colleagues with me, but Pauline, you can mention something? Pauline, please. The questions are, one of them is that how will they be registered and recognized? And also, how long or the progress that will be made? And also about integration.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dr. Pauline Duya from the Ministry of Health, and it's a pleasure to be with you today. I know I have met quite a number of you. We have interacted in many ways, and then, of course, there are new faces. So let me not waste so much time. And I want to respond to the first question, where we were asked to explain how people would be registered. Sijui kama ni kila mtu ananielewa ama niongee Kiswahili. Niongee Kiswahili. Lakini kama maneno fulani atanipita mtanisamehe, si ndio? Sasa katika hii kuandikisha watu, kwa sasa hakuna mtu ambaye anapingwa kufanya kazi yake kama daktari wa kiasili. Kuna mtu anapingwa? Si nyote mnafanya kazi yenu vizuri tu. Na vile tulisema culture saa hii ndio bado imewakumbatia. Na katika hiyo culture kuna society tofauti, kuna associations tofauti, kuna Herbal Society, kuna Natepa, kuna zingine pia zimo humo ndani. Na ninajua culture, kabla mtu hajapewa cheti kuna ile ratiba ambayo watu wanafuatilia ndio upewe ile cheti, si ndio?
Unamaanisha Department of Culture, right?
Department of Culture. Kwa hivyo hiyo cheti kwa sasa ndio nyote mnatumia, si ndio? Na wale ambao hawana ningewa encourage kwamba muende mchukue nini? Cheti. So hatuzuii mtu kufanya kazi yake kwa sasa. Tunaelewana? Lakini kama idara ya afya tunasema kwamba ile sheria tukiweka mikakati vizuri, tunataka tuwahamishe muwe katika umbrella ya Ministry of Health, si ndio? Na hapo hiyo ratiba ndio tumekuwa tukijaribu kuweka, na tunahitaji sheria. Umefahamu? Hiyo sheria ambayo tumekuwa tukiongea kwa muda mrefu itahakikisha kwamba tumetenga, inaitwa ni taasisi ama idara, council, ambayo itakuwa ikiregister watu, ikiandikisha watu. Na hiyo pia ratiba imewekwa katika hiyo draft bill vile hii itafanyika. Sawa? Kwa hivyo kwa sasa endeleeni na kufanya kazi. Hakuna mtu anakuzuia kufanya kazi. Lakini hiyo sheria ikipitishwa, kutakuwa na vile lazima tuwalete ndio muingie katika hii sheria na ratiba ambayo tunafanya nini? Tunapanga. Kwa hivyo usiwe na wasiwasi, fanya kazi yako vile umekuwa ukifanya. Ya pili ni tutachukua muda gani ndio hii mambo iharakishwe. Kwa kweli siwezi kudanganya, wale ambao tumekuwa na wao katika hii safari imechukua muda, na hata sisi pia tumechoka na kufuatilia. Ni kazi ambayo tumefanya, tumekuwa na vikwazo hapa na pale, na kila siku tunahakikisha kwamba tumefanya kitu kipya, tunajaribu kufuatilia ni nini inatuzuia. Katika Ministry of Health kuna mambo mengi pia. Kuna mambo ambayo ministry pia imepanga mikakati, sio tu ya mambo ya traditional medicine peke yake. Na tuko na wanasheria ambao wanasaidia Ministry of Health. Na kwa kweli tulipomaliza kazi yetu, hii sheria tumewapatia watusongeleshe mbele. Na vile tumekuwa advised, tumeambiwa kwamba lazima iende through the AG. Kama haiendi through the AG, lazima pengine iende through private members bill. Umefahamu? Na hayo ni mambo tumeongea na wakubwa wenu hapa. Si uongo, wanaweza kuwaelezea. And I believe wamekuwa wakiwaambia from time to time ni nini inaendelea mkiwa katika mikutano yenu. Kama hawajaelezea, najua watafanya hivyo. Si ndio? So tumeambiwa kuna muda ukipeleka kwa AG inachukua roughly 6 months. Kwa sababu ya ile kule pia wale ambao wanafanya kazi si wengi na kazi ni nyingi. Sheria ni nyingi. Na hiyo ndio kikwazo tulionayo kwa sasa. Lakini sisi kama ambao tunahusika na hii mambo tumepitisha, tukapeleka kwa watu wetu wa sheria na wanafuatilia. Na mwisho mimi kuulizia ni hii sheria imepelekwa kwa AG kuangaliwa. Sawa? Na wanasheria. That was the last feedback I have received. Na kutoka hapo lazima tufuatilie. Sijui naongea mengi sana, mtanisamehe. Because when I start talking about these things I become very passionate. Forgive me for that. Anyway, then kwa hivyo tukiangalia muda, our desire is that between now and at least December we get something, because we were told 6 months. 6 months. Umefahamu? Na sisi tunaomba, tumekuwa tukiongea tukijaribu kuwaharakisha. Aya. Ingine pia ni ni hivyo. Okay.
Utaniwia radhi, niko na follow up question.
Yeah.
So can we say that the draft bill has been taken to the AG's office?
Yes, that was the feedback I received.
And so far we can say it will take probably 6 months for them to work on it.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Kwa hivyo tuchukue tena maswali matatu, anzia pale.
Hello, my name is Eric Ongaki. I have a few questions. Question number one. While Dr. Sarah was presenting, a few challenges were cited, and one that caught my eye is inadequacy in training. And then she went on to cite the progress that is being made, especially from institutions of higher learning, which I understand to be that is geared towards those who are enrolled in some programs like School of Medicine, pharmacy, and the likes. Now the question here I have is, what is meant by inadequacy in training, especially in the context of tropical and traditional herbalism? What is meant by inadequate training for someone who has been in the field for like 10 years?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's number one. Number two, talking about evidence-based. It is a question that I'd like to ask the direction of the direction from the Ministry of Health. The basis or the particulars of basing evidence to have herbal remedies to be either institutionalized or registered. What will they require as to be evidence for them to validate that? And number three, palliative care. Maybe to cite a few.
Just the question, please.
Okay, palliative care. Right now, from the Ministry of Health, what are the avenues? Because I saw like we are speaking of things that have not been happening, but what are the avenues provided through the Ministry of Health that people under palliative care and those especially whom conventionally have not been, their conditions have not been addressed, what is the way, what has the Ministry of Health done, or what platform have you given for them to be helped from the herbal practitioners? Thank you.
All right. Maybe we will limit to one question for each person. So if you have many questions, please prioritize. And as I mentioned earlier, we are not opening it up to the content. We are talking about the process. Because I know, we've been in this sector, we know when we start certain debates, we'll not finish today.
Okay.
Not that they're not important, it's only that the time may not be on our side. So let's hear from our professor, then we'll come to you.
Thank you so much for everybody who have contributed. I have a suggestion and a question. First, my suggestion is to the University of Kenyatta University. It's good what they are doing, but I think also it have to be start from the lowest level, primary or going down that way. So that will have to be drawn to the Ministry of Education. So as it start there. Otherwise, if you wait for me, if you look aloud, people who are here are aged. Simply because the young ones don't know. And we need to pass the information, as our Honorable Member of Parliament said. And then the question to the Ministry of Health. I accept the step taken from 2018. And thank you so much for that. But draw me back to remember 2001, we are all called again of the same by MOH, Minister of Health, at Ibagathi for 1 week. And I thought that's where we should learn from, so as we don't again start, because it took 17 years to start again. And we learn where that never went ahead, so as we don't repeat again, then it take another 17 years to start again. Because 2001, on the 19th to 23rd of November that year, We all met at KCCT. And we did the same, and we are just worried, how fast can we do that and learn from the past? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that question.
Nami kwa majina ni Samuel Nyanumba, na representi South Rift kama Avari Society of Kenya. Swali langu ni hili. Nasikia daktari ameongea kutoka kwa Minister of Health vizuri sana, akisema pili amepeleka kwa Attorney General na kutaka kuipeleka haraka. Kuna nchi zingine anasema under members private motion. Sasa leo tuko na bahati, tuko na engineer hapa Hamisi na Mheshimiwa Oruochi. Ni jinsi gani tunaweza kumetieti hiyo iende kama private bill? Sababu hii ni ndoa ambaye tunaongea juu yake na tunataka ifanywe leo ama kesho mwisho. Lakini hii kusema imeenda kwa Attorney General ni kama kuenda kuitupa huko, na wataalamu wengine wako na nia nzuri ama mbaya. Naomba daktari, nyinyi kama mnataka tuolewe haraka, tafuta njia ya kutufanyia sherehe leo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, let's take two more from, yeah, and then we'll come to ni Gidaiga. Okay.
Yes, nashukuru. Majina ni Thomas Marwa toka Migori County, Kuria East. Swali langu, yameshaongelewa miaka hiyo yote, wametoa historia, lakini mimi nauliza draft hii ya mwaka 2023 itaenda lini bunge ipitishwe ili niwe na uhakika? Jambo la pili, amesema daktari kwamba ameisha chukua. Unajua kama tuko three parties lazima hebu njoo na wewe njoo tukachukue hichi kitu ili tuhakikishe. Nitahakikishaje kwamba aliisha chukua, hakipo kwenye ofisi zao pale? Naweza kuwa ameweka kwenye murundu wa mafaili alafu akasahau, anakuja kutuambia kwamba amechukua. Mimi naomba kamati hiyo iteuliwe ili wahusika ni hao hapa lists, 2 3 wawemo ndani, madaktari wawemo ndani na wengine wale, alafu ichukuliwe bunge ndio nikubali. Lakini ni lini hii draft ya 2023 itaingia bunge? Mbunge yuko hapa, Mungu akubariki bana. Unapoenda katika bunge, Mungu akubariki. Asante kwa kukuja, Mungu akubariki, maana wewe sio mwanasiasa muoga. Naomba lichukuliwe kwake na hao wengine wamekuja watuchukulie bunge ili lielezewe. Kwa sisi wa Kuria tunasema mwanamke wakiwa watatu, mwanamke huyu hawezi akamula huyu ama huyu amule huyu, wote ni wanawake wa mtu mmoja kwa nafasi zao. Sasa tunaomba sisi tufanywe registration tukiwa wenyewe tumejitenga, tukiangaliwa na sheria. Basi Mungu awabariki. Asante.
Asante. We take the last question and then ministry will respond.
Maswali yangu ni matatu lakini ni swali limoja. Swali la kwanza ni kwa Ministry of Health, ninalo swali kwa Dr. James Kuria, Kenyatta University, na swali pia Kemri, sorry. Swali na Kenyatta University kwa Dr. Onyango. Swali la MOH. Wakati Daktari Saramonge alipokuwa akizungumza na alipokuwa akigusia jambo la kuhusisha ama kuzungumza that interaction with the traditional practitioners, ametaja ya kwamba wengine wao huwa ni sumbua. Akatumia jina la Kiingereza cumbersome. Some of the TPs are cumbersome. So we would like not to be cumbersome. Utueleze kinagaubaga sumbua hii ni sumbua aina gani? Ni mambo yapi ambayo tumeyaleta kwako yakawa ni sumbua katika idara ya Ministry of Health? Swali langu kwa Dr. Onyango KU, ile collected information, that information that you've collected, including the fingerprints, has it been disseminated to the public? Ni mambo ambayo tukiyataka tutayapata, na kama tutayapata ni kwa gharama ama tutayapata kwa njia gani? Nikimaliza na Dr. James Kuria Kemri, tuna mambo mengi na hisia mbaya kuhusu Kemri. Sisi ambao ni waganga wa herbalism, tumesikia ya kwamba kuna mambo utendeka huko. Swali ni, nimesikia ni kama hukutokea kabisa kutuelezea KEMRI uhusiano wake na sisi ambao ni waganga au wanaotumia tiba ya kiasili. Where do we connect? At what point and at what cost? Ndio KEMRI iwe inatusaidia na tunasaidiana, tunaingilia mahali gani? Kwa majina ni Francis Gidaiga, tabibu kutoka Limuru, tabibu wa kiasili, na Mungu awabariki.
Asante, let's get the response from the ministry.
Okay. I think first I would like to just correct what my colleague here has said. I did not say that herbalists are cumbersome. I said herbalists find the process a bit cumbersome. Because when you have to register your product, you have to take it to a research institution. You also have to take it for a quality analysis so that you can confirm, not even confirm what it contains, but mainly confirm whether it is not adulterated, just to confirm a few things and to list. So some of them will find it a bit cumbersome because they will be charged, because at every step of the process of registration or listing of your product, you have to pay something. So I did not say that herbalists are cumbersome. I said the process is found to be cumbersome.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I think I needed to make that clarification.
It's very clear.
Kiswahili kwangu ni ngumu kidogo, kwa hivyo labda nitaendelea tu kwa Kiingereza. Ni sawa?
It's all right.
Aya. There's someone who mentioned about there's someone who mentioned about the training, inadequate training and qualification of the traditional practitioners. When we're talking about training, we're talking about even knowing the public health aspect of how to deal with these patients. Yeah? Because you're dealing with human beings. So when you talk about training, yes, you may know about your products, but also at the same time, you also need to know how are you going to deal with the patient in a septic way. Patient safety is very important. So in terms of how do you prevent infection from one patient to another, those are the things that we also look at even in terms of qualification. So even if you're to do it in a research institution, they will cover these topics. As much as they'll cover the topics of how to treat or what the medicine does, at the same time, we're looking at the public health aspect also. The people who, kuna wale wanapenda kutengeneza dawa zao. Kuna njia ambazo lazima mtumie kutengeneza. There are several steps. Mnatumia, are you using safety, are you using infection prevention measures? Ile ya kuzuia infection from one thing. Mnatumia vitu za, mna avoid contamination ya product yako. Yeah? Kuna wengine hata wanaweza sema mimi natengeneza tu pale karibu hapo nyuma ya nyumba, but you have to have a proper sanitized environment when you prepare your stuff, when you prepare your medicine. Let me not call it stuff, medicine. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we look at all those aspects in terms of qualification. So there's that inadequate training for most of them. They need to at least be able to also know the basic public health, prevention measures, infection prevention measures. We also look at apparatus. Do you attach? Are they like the people who are working under you, or have you given them proper training? You know, just to at least be practical with the way that you do things.
And
yeah?
Dr. I can support you in that, because it's a conversation that we've been having with herbalists.
Yes.
And this is even learning from each other, peer learning. They train each other in terms of even how to handle these products, how to store them, how to avoid contamination, as you say. So it's something that is obvious. And we agree with you. So just before you finish, Mheshimiwa here has raised his hand. Please, where's the other mic?
Thanks. Vitalis, just around me, allow me to face this way.
Yeah.
Nitaongea kwa lugha ya Kiswahili na ngotaka kusema jambo moja. Nimeona kumezungumziwa jambo la sheria, na ningetaka tu kueleza kuwa hata mimi kabla sijakwenda bunge safari ya kwanza, nafikiri utunzi wa sheria ni jambo rahisi. Sheria kwanza, ile sera inatengezwa na wizara. Wizara ikishatengeza sera kutokana na ile sera inapatia wataalamu wa kutengeza sheria wanatunza sheria. Wizara zote zinafanya shughuli zao, lakini wataalamu wa sheria wako kwa Attorney General. Unapeleka kutokana na ile, wanaika ile inaitwa legal drafting. Ikishaletwa inarudi tena kwa wizara. Wizara wenyewe tena wanaangalia kutoka hii sera yetu na hii sheria zalingana, wakiridhika inakuwa introduced kwa bunge. Ikifika kwa bunge inasomwa mara ya kwanza, alafu speaker anaichukua anaipeleka kwa ile kamati. Sasa kuna kitu katika katiba yetu ambayo tuliweka ni lazima, na ile kitu inaitwa public participation. Na nimesikiza maoni mengi sana, lakini haya ni maoni ambayo yanakuja wakati wa public participation, na ni kwa sababu moja, yakianza kusikizwa mapema itachukua miaka 5 hata kudraft ile sheria. Naomba tu nijieleze tu kidogo, maana maoni ni mengi sana, lakini wale wataalamu watakuwa wamezungumza labda na wachache wenu, viongozi wenu na wengine tika, wengine hawa researchers, alafu watakuja na ile policy, watakuja na sheria. Sasa ile sheria itarudishwa kwa wananchi. Na njia ya public participation, kuna njia kama hii ya kukaa pamoja, kuna wakati wanaweza wakatembea. Sasa kama wanaweza kwenda kwa vyuo vikuu, wanaweza kwenda kwa matabibu, wanaweza kwenda kwa vyama vyenu, wanaweza kwenda pia kwa wale wanaotumia bidhaa zenu na utaaluma yenu. Alafu watasikiza, baada ya pale ndio ile sasa sheria sasa inakwenda second reading, third reading, halafu inaletwa kwa committee of the whole house. Haijaisha bado. Ya kuwa wewe kama unatoka Kisii na unaona hii ina shida, unaweza kwenda ukamwambia mbunge wako akae kwenye committee of the whole house aombe amendment ya ile sheria, ndio sheria ije. Sasa mimi kitu kwa sababu gani nimeamka kuzungumza hivi? Nimeomba kwanza tuwe na subra. Hii kusukuma Attorney General, tutaomba wizara, lakini unajua Attorney General huyo ndio anachukua sheria zote, vitengo vyote, wizara ya barabara ya nani, kila moja inaenda pale. Lakini ikishatoka pale, ikiwekwa, ikija kwenye bunge, sasa pale wale ambao wana interest na ile sheria sasa wanasukuma. Wewe unaenda zungumza na mbunge wako, mimi Chome naenda tafuta ni nani ni mwenyekiti wa hii kamati, nizungumze naye kwa sababu nina interest fulani. That is where you can actually lobby to fast track it. Nikaona tu nizungumze, na ukisema upeleke kama private members motion, unaweza kuipeleka, lakini ni kwanza mpaka before you send a private members motion you lobby outside, kwa sababu siku ile itasomwa mara ya mwanzo, isipopokelewa na wabunge 50 imekufa hapo hapo. Lakini ya serikali ikija, unajua serikali tayari ina majority pale, tayari wao watalobi wale wabunge wao ili iweze kwenda through. Nimeona tu nijieleze, lakini mimi nasema kitu kimoja, tusikate tamaa. Ile kazi mnayofanya inafaa wengi wameishi, wangekuwa wamepoteza maisha. I can tell you my own thing. I know of a good friend of mine. Alikuwa na kansa, alisumbuka sana, na dawa iliyomtibu ilikuwa ni dawa ya kienyeji, na mpaka leo yuko. If I were to know what would happen, probably I should have come with him. Na yeye aje azungumze. Unajua saa nyingine yule aliyenyeshwa mvua ndio anajua kusifu mvua, ama sivyo? Asanteni. Na sikutaka kutoka kwenye mada, lakini kwa naomba tufanye subra. Sheria kila mtu anataka uzungumze leo, kesha sheria iko. Ukiintroduce njia mbaya itakufa on the floor of the house, na uweze kuintroduce mpaka miezi 6 ipite. Nikaona tu nijieleze, lakini kwa sababu nimefuatilia hii natika, nimewafuata, nimekutana nao mara kadhaa, nimeenda mpaka ofisini kwao. Mimi nina indigenous people pale ninapoishi, mambo mengi. Kwa hivyo tutakaa karibu nao, then we bring like-minded people. The ministry can come and tell them exactly what this entails, what is good, what we are protecting the people against. Once they get convinced, it gets a life of its own. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. And I think Mheshimiwa has answered so many questions with that remark. So we'll go to our last question session. Before we wrap up the session, so we'll take from, yes, him, Kemri, and then Reverend. Okay, Reverend, and then Dr. Lydia.
Good afternoon. My name is Waweru, like I said before, and I come from Ruai. Now, Ruai is known for many things, but one of the things that I think we have gained some recognition for is the fight against climate change. I'm also part of an organization where I'm a conservationist, and we are aiming, at first we were aiming to plant 1 million trees, but now the target has gone up to 10 million trees. Now, the theme of today's African Traditional Medicine Day is creating a clean environment where traditional medicine can thrive. I'm encouraged by what Professor has said, that this process has taken many years. Now, when we are in the community, developing talent, building leadership and character, we're also looking at creating a new industry for the future generation through the trees that we are planting. Now, I don't know whether that resonates with the mind of His Excellency with his 15 billion trees campaign. I've been to a country where they have a 1 trillion trees campaign. So sometimes I'm a bit surprised when Kenyans think 15 billion trees is a lot of trees. Now think of it this way. For those people who are from the tea growing regions of this country, the more tea plants you have, the more future income potential that you have. Now the more indigenous trees we have, and like somebody mentioned, the more medicinal trees we have, the bigger this industry is going to become in future. Now by industry, I don't necessarily mean a money minting enterprise. By industry, I mean jobs for Kenyans, for our children, jobs for grandchildren here. We're looking at access to better healthcare and things like that. Now, I'd like to challenge the people who are in this room, the people who hold the pens that make decisions, the people who have the ideas that the decisions need to be made, and the people like me who need to go back to our community and explain this thing that we are calling traditional medicine, and maybe the products that I also have, what it entails for people. Let's have a mind that unifies the future of this country alongside the abilities, the resources, and the ideas that we have right now. Let's think 10 years down the line what our ideas will add to the conversation. And Honorable Hamisi, thank you for the direction you have given us and the insight you have given us into the lawmaking process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that was not a question, it was a speech, and a nice one. Kemri, maybe you want to respond to that question earlier on, briefly? Yeah, please.
Nitafupisha kabisa. Nafikiri, na asante sana Daktari Githaiga kwa sababu ya hilo swali. Lakini nimeona kwamba imekuwa ni kwa sababu tupo hapa na kwa sababu nyote mpo, ni vizuri kwamba nirushe kitu kidogo tu. Nafikiri kile ambacho kimesababisha huku kutoelewana ni kwa sababu ya wengi wa asili wanapokuja kwetu, wanakuja kila Jumatano, tunakuwa na open day kwao. Hao naamini hawako hapa, ambao wanafanya pia zaidi ya kutibu ni matapeli pia. Wanachukua ile logo ya KEMRI wanabandika kwa clinic zao. Mgonjwa akiona KEMRI anajua huyu ni wale wanasemekanaga kwa TV wamekubali. Kumbe daktari mwenyewe matibabu yake si mazuri, amechukua ile logo, ameweka barua yake chini, amesema miti yangu imetafitiwa. Hiyo hakutoa KEMRI. Hiyo ikabidi kwamba turudi nyuma tuangalie, labda tutabidi tubadilishe mpango wa jinsi ambavyo tunahusika nao, ili kwa sababu katika kila trade, kila taaluma kunakuwa na watu ambao ni waaminifu, tena kuna idadi ambao si waaminifu. Kwa hiyo kila Jumatano tunakuwa na open day kutoka saa 3 mpaka saa 6. Ukiwa na swali tafadhali njoo, tunaweza tukazungumza. Lakini kama ningewaambia, kwa sababu nyinyi pia ni viongozi wa madaktari wa asili, KEMRI haisajili. KEMRI haisajili. Labda tutakusaidia kukushauri, nenda hapa, piga hodi ofisi hii ama nyingine, lakini hatusajili. Kwa hiyo hata members wenu wawe wakijua kwamba wakikutana na mwanasheria ambaye anajua mambo yake na ako na logo ya KEMRI, haitamsaidia vyovyote, kwa sababu KEMRI haihusiki katika kusajili au madaktari au dawa zao.
Asante.
Kupima, tunajaribu kuweka mikakati kama ile ambayo KU ameweka, lakini kwa sasa hivi bado. Kwa hiyo hata ukija kwetu sasa hivi nitakwambia nenda pharmacognosy, kwa sababu wako na program nzuri, wako na service charter, watakwambia ukihitaji kipimo hiki ni gharama hii muda huu, mpaka tupange hivyo tuweze kuwa nao. Kwa sasa hivi nitakurifa kwa profesa. Asante.
Asante sana daktari. I think we'll give Dr. Nyambu time to respond. There was a question earlier, and he has also just been mentioned right now. Then we'll come to Reverend Mugambi, and then we go to Dr. Lydia.
The question was on the cost and time frame, and and actually dissemination. For the cost, we have a cost for the lab, which in my opinion is not favorable for the herbalist, and that is why we are engaging with your leaders on some kind of MOU to be able to get a favorable cost. So we are still engaging. We have spoken with Daktari Matoke, Daktari Mugambi, and we are in the process of working for something. You know, when you have an agreement, things do not become the same like the one who doesn't have an agreement. The other thing is also that this lab is not yet accredited by the relevant bodies to offer these services. We are in the process of discussing the same, so that when you have your results, it is also recognized. This is, I think, a government-to-government body. I think in due course, it will be done. Okay? In terms of dissemination, in the university, we have students. And students, we teach them. Somebody raised a point that we are doing it at the highest level. In curriculum development, every 5 years we change curriculum, and we look at the needs. So the component of curriculum that will include may not necessarily have been taken care of somewhere at the lowest levels. So, but we are looking at, for example, we are training doctors, pharmacists, and medical doctors, and public health officers. These people need to be aware. So it's our responsibility also as curriculum developers to ensure that they have some knowledge about it. So this is what we are doing at the basic level. But again, we have discussed, in fact, at some point, we are the curriculum. We are also discussing at the level of training, not merely certification, but training, awareness, to knowledge dissemination at the level of trainings